Lifelong learning is critical at the individual level. It's also critical at the organizational level. So Russell's book is fantastic because it gives us a pathway for how to do that, how to make that a reality.
I think it's fantastic. It's a fantastic blueprint regarding all the dimensions that actually one requires to really build a learning organization. One of the things I really love about it is this aspect about being sort of a learning activist, and how part of our role is to actually get people excited about learning and to spread that and to engage people and encourage them truly to be lifelong learners.
I think it's terrific to see Russell put out there some very specific and tangible ways that organizations can be more effective in the way they look at learning.
I really did enjoy the book. I think it's a book and a philosophy that all organizations should embrace.
And what he's done is lay out a very clear and easy to implement program. I mean, if a CEO and management team are really on board with wanting to take a large company and turning it into a learning organization, he has laid out the entire process to do that, and I think that people would be successful in implementing.
Russell's book that is a powerful one. There's just a lot of comments and a lot of things in that book that talk about learning, which I thought was fascinating.
What I really liked about the book is how structured it was in its thinking. It really was able to take a very complicated idea and to break it down into all its components.
The original Fortune 500 list came out in 1955. Only 61 of those companies are still around. And what happened to the remaining? They didn't do what Russell is saying.
And what he does in this book is he talks about creating a learning environment, but he's also looking at the learners who are in the environment. So that's very important. It's not just the nuts and bolts of an organization, but it's the humans within it and how they learn.
One of the things that I felt an immediate kinship when I met Russell Sarder was the fact that he's got this lifelong passion for learning. It's very, very clear. And I actually loved his new book for that very reason.
I'm familiar with his earlier books on different ways people learn and different ways that adults and children and even different adults learn. What's interesting to me about this book is how that he has evolved in that relationship between learning and innovating, and it makes total sense to me.
I would say one of the things I loved the most was his talk and passion about learning. And I love the analogies and the examples that he used and different perspectives from other leaders on learning.
So I thought what he brought to the table was fantastic, and I think companies should read it. Because at the end of the day, if you could do that, you will be far more successful.
I had a chance to talk with Russell very quickly, and 2% of your budget should be tied to learning initiatives. So if your budget's $1 million, $20,000 should be going to learning initiatives for employees. The only company, old benchmark companies that did that was GE, and they're the only ones still around, so it's directly linked.
And I think what a lot of that book is about is that how can we take a diverse set of learners through lots of different change and really get an explosive combination. And I think if you can harness that power, that's what really changes organizations. And I think that book is a huge step forward in people understanding the power of that.
It was really great for me because I didn't know a whole lot about starting a whole learning organization. And I was able to take the book and basically use it as a roadmap to get me started and going into the right direction. And even today, I still use the book quite often as a resource. So anytime I have to build a business case, let's say, for something that I want to do, I go in and I look in the book, and it helps me.
You know, you need to be a learning-based organization. So when you have a place where people can learn and apply, and nothing is throttling back but their own results, Katie barred the door. I think that is just an incredible culture.
I really liked it because it laid out developing a learning plan for an organization. It's very thorough, good stories, good research. I also liked it because it scans well. I love the diagrams in it. I like the assessment that was in it. Those were good questions. And it's the kind of thing you can go back to a few times and pull things out of. So yes, I did enjoy it and I appreciate it.
I think there's some just great lessons there that you can actually pick up from day one to really make sure that that learning culture is front and center and that you don't lose it, you know, as you go through and get distracted for whatever reason.
One of my favorite things is to see an author or a teacher who has done or is doing what they're teaching. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't always have to be that way, but that's a stamp of approval for me to buy into the concept that says a lifelong learner teaching me about being a lifelong learner, right, is something I can get behind.
It was really useful. The only feedback is just to have as many people read it as possible.